Now we're going to animate these parts except the crankcase. So I will control left click the cylinder to select it. Then I come up here to click add new path, and we see that the cylinder is selected. Come over to the properties and choose move, and direction will be height direction. The move value will be 40 millimeters and the motion time 3 seconds. And I will also deselect the add motion in the end, so nothing is selected here. Then I click OK, and the Smart Motion Editor opens. So here we have the height move that is added to the cylinder. I right click the height move here and go to properties, then go to time effect, and here I will choose linear and reverse. I click OK. Then I close the Smart Motion Editor. So when I now click on, we see that the cylinder will go up to the endpoint of the path. So if I drag the slider now, it will go back to the crankcase. So that's how I want it. So now I can copy this Smart Motion here in the cylinder. So I right click, select it and right click, and select copy Smart Motion. Then I will copy it to the bolts and the washers. So I will expand this one. When I select the first one, we see all 4 will be selected here in the scene. So this is the first bolt and washer assembly. So I will select the bolt, and here I press Ctrl V to paste, and we see the paths. All linked bolts will have the same path. Then I select the washer and Ctrl V, and all washers will have the same path. So now if I click on, we will see that the cylinder and the bolts and the washers will go up to the endpoint of the path. But I would like to have the bolts and the washers up a little bit more, so it will look like an exploded view. So to do that, I will go back to the bolt here, select, hover the cursor over the path, so we see that this path turns into yellow. That means I can select it. Then I right click the endpoint and go to keyframe properties, and here in the position tab I can change the height of the endpoint, and I will change the height of the endpoint to 70, like so. Then I select the washer, select that path, right click the endpoint, keyframe properties, and the position here will be 50. Like so. So now if I click on, it will look like this. So if I grab the slider, they will go back to the starting position here at the on the crankcase, like so. So that's how I want it. So I deactivate the on button. So now I can continue to paste the Smart Motion to the other parts. So I will move the camera to this position here, and I will continue to paste the Smart Motion to the display piston. I select it here. Then I press Ctrl V, select the path, right click the endpoint, go to keyframe properties and change the position here to 35. And then I will select the glass piston, this one, Ctrl V to paste it, select the path, right click the endpoint, go to keyframe properties and position, and the position for the glass piston will be 55. Then I will paste the motion on the glass cylinder. Do the same procedure, select the path, right click the endpoint, properties, position for the glass cylinder will be 95. Then I select the cover, paste it, paste the motion, select path, like so, and position for the cover will be 160. Then we come to the bolt assembly here. I think it's that bolt assembly. We see that they are all selected here in the scene. We see here the same here in the scene browser. Expand the bolt assembly, select that bolt, then Control V, select that part or that path, right click the endpoint and change the position to 200. Then select the washer, paste the motion, select the path, right click here. Position for the washer will be 180, like so. So now we have the piston rod bushing. If I selected the part level, we see here now when I select the anchor, the Z-axis is pointing in this direction. When I paste the height move, it will go in the same direction as the Z-axis. So that means if I were to paste the height move here, the bushing would move inside the crankcase. But I want the bushing to move outside, so I have to change direction of the Z-axis here. So when the anchor is selected, I turn on the triball, select this axis, left click and drag, rotate the anchor 180 degrees and remove the triball, and now we see that the Z-axis is pointing in this direction. So now I can paste. Before I paste, I select the piston rod bushing in part level, like so, and then paste the motion. We see that the height move is now going in this direction. So when I click on, we will see that the piston rod bushing will go outside, and that's how I want it. So now when all parts except the crankcase has a smart motion and I have activate on, I can grab this slider to drag it slowly to see that it will work, and it does. So if I click play, it will look like this. So if I go back to Smart Motion Editor, we see that if you don't see these Smart Motion features here, you can grab the scroll bar on the right hand side and move it. Then you will see the features. Or if you can also change the height of this window so that you see more of the Smart Motion Editor. So now we see that they start at the same time, but I want them to start one after the other, and to do that I have to move the motion group. So if we come over here to the animation tree, we see that if I select the height move here, the cylinder is selected here in the scene browser. If I select that one, it will be the bolt, and then this one will be the washer. But if you select one of the parts in the scene browser, the height move that belongs to that part will not be selected in the animation tree. So it can be hard to know which motion belongs to which part in the scene browser. But you can also change the name of the motion feature, but not the name of the group. So for instance, this one, height move, is the cylinder. So I can right click the feature here in the timeline, right click and go to properties, and for instance I can type slash and cylinder and hit enter, and I have changed the name here in the animation tree. So select that one, right click the motion, the smart motion here in the timeline, click properties, and here I will type bolt cylinder, and this is the washer. Do the same here, change the name, and then we have this one is the displacer piston, And this is the glass piston. See now. And this is the glass cylinder. And this is the cover. Then we have this one. It's the bolt to fasten the cover. So I will right click here and type bolt cover, and that's the washer. So, and then we have the piston rod bushing. So now it's easier to see which part the height move belongs to. So the cylinder will start first at 0, then I want the washer and the bolt to follow, so I will select the bolt or the washer group here, select that one, and right click and go to properties, and this one will start half a second later, so it will look like that. And then the bolt will start half a second after the washer, so that means 1 second after the cylinder. Then the displacer will follow the bolt here, so I right click this group here, and that means 1.5 seconds later. Then we have the glass piston, that will be 2 seconds later, and this one will be 2.5 seconds, and the cover will be 3 seconds later. Then we have the washer here at the cover, that will be 3.5, and the bolt will start 4 seconds later, like so. So now if I close the Smart Motion editor, click on and grab the slider, we will see that they will go to the starting position at the crankcase, like so. So that's how I want it. Then we are going to export the animation, so I will click on and move the camera to a position where I can see all parts, like so. And then I will deactivate the on button. Now we come over to the export animation, and here we will choose MP4, and we will call this animation assembly. Hit enter. Then this dialog box opens, and I will choose 72 dots per inch, because I think that's enough. We're going to show it on the screen, and the size is the HD size. Then we have seen display quality. You can also use advanced realistic quality if you want to. Then you can add shadows, ray tracing. If you go to advanced settings, you can make some additional changes to make it more realistic. But I will cancel that. I will choose scene display quality. And then I click OK. We see that there are 211 frames, and then I click begin. And now we will see the result. Like so. So this is how you can animate in IronCAD. You can create your animations and publish them on the internet or send them to your customer. So I will save this scene, go back to Home tab, click Save, and then I will close the scene.